Welcome to Shit's Getting Real with Sax, where we strip back the filters and get raw about life, money, emotions, and business. This is your safe space for unfiltered conversations, the kind that make you feel seen, understood, and deeply connected to something bigger. No bullshit, no pretending, just real stories, deep truths, and the occasional existential crisis. Because life, it's messy, it's magical, and it's meant to be truly felt. Hello guys. Welcome back. Another episode of Shit's Getting Real with Sax. Although I am contemplating a little name change. Some new things are coming, some new frequencies are aligning, and I feel like out with the old, in with the new is coming back into play soon. So that's exciting, and we'll see what becomes of that. But today, my heart is feeling a little bit restricted, feeling a little bit tight, feeling a little bit anxious. So there's going to be probably a lot of sighing, a lot of moving around, a lot of maybe, I don't even know, pauses in this story. But it's time to tell. It is time to tell you guys the story. And I'm telling you guys this now because this is my truth. And also, I am not here to shame or blame or put the story outside of myself onto another person. And I think that if I had have said this story at any other time before that, that could have been the case, because where my brain was at and where my heart was at and where my feelings were at before was really up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, as is basically anyone who goes through something similar to this experience. And I'm coming at it now from a point of view of, rather than placing blame, being able to see how I'm still hurt and also how this is still affecting my life to this day. And I've been saying for pretty much a year now since this happened, how I'm going to tell the story, I'm going to tell the story, I'm going to tell the story. And I've been holding myself back each time I do a podcast, and I'm ready to just let it go. I'm ready to move forward. I'm ready to let it all go, really, and just create a new life for myself that isn't determined by when am I going to tell this story. Not that the last year of my life has been defined by this story. However, there have been aspects of my life that have definitely been highly influenced by this. And so being able to just let it go and move forward with a clear conscience and know that by sharing this, one, I'm not allowing shame to live inside of me. I am allowing truth to live inside of me. I am allowing courage to live inside of me. I am allowing love and beautiful energy to emit from me, because I'm no longer holding on to these grudges. I'm no longer holding on to this pain or these negative emotions. And I also want to be a voice for other people who may have experienced something similar, or who may feel like they're going through something that is a similar experience to the ups and downs, and how mentally draining it is to deal with someone who has been manipulating you, and all of the different things that actually come with that emotionally, mentally, even physically. And I want to just be able to give them a space to sit, and a space to feel heard, and a space to feel seen, and to know that you are not crazy. You are not crazy. It is okay, and you are safe, and your truth is still true to you. So With that being said, let's get into the story. Last year, when I was in Thailand, it was the day after my birthday. And the day of my birthday, the night of my birthday, I had gone out to the jungle party where there was like 5 different stages or 4 different stages, and it was incredible. I literally went by myself because I didn't have anyone who I was traveling with. I'd only just gotten to the island a day before, and I was like, fuck it, I want to go to this party and I want to see what it's about. And so I went to the party literally like completely sober. I got to the party. I had maybe like 2 drinks, 3 drinks while I was there. But honestly, drinks were just not really doing it for me in Thailand. And I didn't want to get on the vodkas because, quite frankly, I didn't trust that. So I was only drinking like Leo cans, which is actually not important to this story. But anyways, the next day I was so tired and not hungover, but just tired. Like I'd only gotten 4 or 5 hours sleep. I was drained. I'd had a day out adventuring and going to the beaches and other things. And so I was just like, I feel so dead. And I was sitting in my little room. It's sort of like it was like an apartment studio, but not really. It was kind of stingy, like it was really cheap. There was literally a bathroom that had barely running water, a little kitchenette area, and then the bed and like a cupboard. And I was just sitting there, oh, and a balcony. I was sitting on my balcony and I was thinking to myself, oh, I'm so tired. I definitely don't want to go out again, but it would just be so nice right now to just have a joint with someone, have some laughs, and just actually just connect with someone on a more low-key spiritual type vibe basis, right? And so what does one do when they're in a foreign country and want to connect with new people? I go on Tinder. And I'm not someone who's used Tinder for years, but I actually couldn't even access Hinge when I was there the first time. I think it's illegal there to have Hinge. Or no, it's not illegal, but I don't think it's allowed with the VPN or something. There was something that happened and I couldn't get Hinge. Anyways, I got on Tinder and I was scrolling through and I found this guy's profile, and there wasn't anything that particularly like jumped out at me from the profile, but he looked like he liked to party and he looked like fun, and he just seemed like a chill, casual guy. And there wasn't that sort of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like rip his clothes off type feeling or anything like that. So I sort of was like, cool, I'll be able to just have chats with this person and it'll just be a chill vibe. He also had that he smoked in his profile. So I was like, lit, he's going to have stuff and I'll get him to bring it to my place. And then I don't have to go out and buy it all as well. Big bonus. Anyways, I matched with him. We got to chatting instantly. He was asking me if I was going out that night. I was like, absolutely not. I'm tired. I actually just want to smoke and like have some chill chats if you're interested. And he was like, yeah, of course. Like, I'll come over. It was literally like, oh, shall we get on Ket? I was like, no, buddy. Like, that's not really like my vibe right now. I genuinely just want to chill. And he came over and he was just really cool. Like, he was just a chill guy. He didn't really have anything that was like negative, I would say, within that first interaction and that first meeting. And it was just a nice experience with a nice person, and our conversations flowed really, really well, and we got along really, really well when he was really into a lot of like spirituality, and he was asking me a lot of questions about myself, and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. Like, I've had a lot of travel romances that have been short situationship styles, over a long period of time because of all the traveling that I had done within the last couple of years. So it wasn't as if I met him being like, oh my God, this man is my soulmate. He is like the best thing to ever walk this earth. Like, I genuinely was just happy with the experience, and it was a good time. And he'd said some comments that day that now upon reflection were definitely red flags, but at the time I didn't really think anything of it, where he was sort of like, oh, oh, how long are you going to stay for? You should extend your stay. We should get a place by like with the two of us. We should do this. We should do that. What are you doing tomorrow? What are you doing for the rest of this week? Like, really just like wanted to spend time with me, right? And so I was like, oh wow, like this is nice, but no, like I've got this place for a couple of weeks and we don't need to go into a place together because I have to leave when I leave because it's the end of my visa. But I did have like 4 or 5 days where I hadn't booked anything yet before my visa had ended. And so I ended up spending 2 to 3 days with this guy, and we were like doing everything together sort of thing for these 2 to 3 days. And within that time, we were speaking really openly about how we feel towards dating, how we feel towards other people. And I was like, how many other girls are you seeing at the moment? Like, obviously, I've only just got to the island. I'm not stupid enough to think that I'm the only girl that you're seeing or you're not seeing other people. You've been living on the island for years. You must have people that you sort of somewhat date that also live here. And he was like, yeah, there's this one other girl at the moment, but she's on a visa run, like she's away. And honestly, it's kind of coming to the end of that experience anyway. Like, I was sort of looking on the out, so you came at a perfect time, really. And I was like, okay, well, as long as you're like honest and truthful about it all, like, I don't really care. Like, there's nothing in my books that says any red flags, because I'd also just come from our Nang where I had seen 2 different people when I was there. So I was like, whatevs, like each to their own. But what I hadn't realized was at this point in time, he'd actually moved in to my place, because on the second day, he came over and he had a little backpack that had a bunch of stuff in it. I didn't realize that that was actually like all of his stuff. Everything that he had fit in a backpack. Man had been living on the island for years, and literally all of his belongings fit into one backpack. And so I didn't realize, but he had actually stopped living where he was living and had moved into my place, and had told me one morning that he was going over to another island because he had work things that he needed to do. And I was like, okay, whatever's, like, I'll see you later when you get back. And then, oh, it's so stupid. When I was outside at like lunchtime, he'd come back and then was like, oh, I left my phone somewhere, like I've got to go back and get it, my phone in my bag, blah, blah, blah. Left, and I just went outside and sat on the balcony to just enjoy the day. And I seen him driving past with a girl on the back of the bike that he was using. And I instantly was just like, bro, you're so stupid, because I gave you every single chance to actually be honest with me, and you chose to lie, and now you've been caught out in your lie. And so he did whatever he did, dropped that girl off where he was meant to drop her off, came back to me and was like, come on, let's go now. Like, we're going on this date to this island. And I was like, I'm not going anywhere with you. Like, I am not going to be lied to. I gave you every chance to be honest, and you chose to lie to me. Like, I'm worth more than that. So you can get your stuff and leave. And he was like, no, 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 like, please, like, I just had to do that one lift, like, just to, like, keep her calm, keep her this, keep her that, like, please, please, please. And I was like, fine, I'll go on this day with you because I actually want to go to Nanyuang Island and I really want to experience it. And so that's fine. I'll go on this day. But when we get back, you're out. Like, you're not allowed to stay here anymore. And we had a well, I wouldn't say it was a great day. I had a good time. We didn't end up going to the island because the water was too choppy for us to paddleboard over like we'd planned to, or kayak over, or whatever the hell we were supposed to be doing. And he was trying to like win me back over, but I was just like, no, like, I'm still being serious. Like, I'm still worth more than that. And you lied to me. So you can get out unless you can prove that you're cutting everything off with these other people now that I don't actually trust you. What am I here for? Like, get out. And he was all like, no, oh, like, it's not like that. I just had to keep them happy because otherwise everybody else on the island is going to be mad at me because she's friends with everyone and I don't want to cause rifts, but you know that I pick you, you know that I choose you. And I was like, I don't care, like, get out. And so he left. And that night I went out to just like have dinner, and I was like, you know what? I deserve to like go out and have a good time. I don't want to just be doing nothing. And so I went walking up and down the sort of like main strip of the island. And there's about, God, like 100 weed stores on this little main strip. But I just so happened to walk to the one shop that is his frequent shop. And I hadn't been with him anywhere, so I didn't know this at the time. But I went to this shop and I said to them, hey, like, I just want to go out tonight, but it's literally like 9 p.m. and I'm not someone who's going to show up alone to the party early. So can I sit with you guys? It was these two Thai guys who I'm still friends with, like, love them to death. Can I sit with you guys and just hang out with you until I'm like ready to go to the party? And they were like, yeah, of course, of course. And I was sat and I was chatting with them and it was a great time. And all of a sudden, the owner of the store got up and walked inside, and the shirt he was wearing was the exact same shirt that this other guy had also been wearing. And I was like, where do they get those shirts from? And the guy who was sat next to me was like, oh, they're from this shop. Like, they're this shop's shirts. And instantly I was like, how did I end up at the one shop on the island that is like his go-to? Like, this island has so many shops. Why am I here? Anyways, I'd made friends with these guys and I told them, I was like, look, I'm avoiding this guy because I don't really like his behavior at the moment. And they were like, it's all right. He won't be around. Like, we've got your back, sort of thing. And I was like, sweet, let's go to the party. And so we went and we partied and we had a good time and it was so much fun. And I went home. And the whole time, this guy who I'm avoiding is messaging me being like, where are you? Like, let's meet up and smoke a joint together. Let's do this, let's do that. And I was like, no. And then I kind of like gave in a little bit. Like, you know, when your self-worth just dwindles down and you just do that thing that you know that you shouldn't be doing. And I was like, let me play the game. Let me play the game. And so I was like, yeah, you can come and give me the joint and I'll give you a kiss on the cheek. Lol. And he was literally like, nah, that's not good enough for me. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, whatevs, then I'll see you another time. And the next day he's calling me being like, oh, I got this new motorbike, come for a ride with me. And I was just at this point like, you know what? I'm only on this island for like another week and a half. Let me just do it because whatevs, like, it really isn't that deep. This man isn't the love of my life. Let me just have some fun, right? Wrong. Fucking wrong. If I could go back and slap some sense into myself, I fucking would. But I cannot. And so I hung out with him again. He was all like, no, let's, like, this is better. Like, I don't want to be with that other girl. I want to be with you. Let's get another place. Let's do this. Let's do that. And I was just like, no, until you can really cut it off with her and it's done with her, I don't want to hear about it. Like, you either choose me and be fully me, or this is literally just a friends thing. Like, it's as simple as that. And the next day he called me and he was like, nah, that's it. I'm done with her. I don't care about the repercussions anymore. Everyone can be mad at me all they care, like, for what they care. I don't care. I just want to be with you. I just want to be with you. I just want to be with you. And so I was like, lit. Love that. Love that for me. Yeah, you know that sense where you've been playing that game and you feel like, yes, I won the game. That was honestly how I felt in that moment. It was so toxic and it was so stupid. And I can see now how just little amount of self-worth I was truly holding myself to, because the importance of winning the game was so much more important to me than the importance of actually having self-worth and the standards of how someone should treat me. And it was all because of the fact that I was just so flippant about it, because I was like, I only have a week left. I only have this amount of time left, right? And I think that that is such a massive lesson in these situations of how easy it is to fall into the trap of a manipulator, of someone who goes around with the intent of actually messing with people and getting inside of their heads and getting into this like toxic game and this toxic cycle that fills them with so much adrenaline and so much of whatever it is that they're looking for. They target people who they know are in that position of almost vulnerability. And my vulnerability was that I didn't care enough. My vulnerability at that point in time was that I just genuinely was there for a good time, and I didn't think that I would be there for a long time. And I let myself just ignore red flag after red flag after red flag after red flag, because I just didn't care. And I think that that is such a highlight of where I was at that point in time in my life. And also, I can see now how that was such an important lesson for me to learn in being so consciously aware of the people that I'm letting into my life and that I am spending my time with, whether it's a short amount of time or a long amount of time. But anyways, we continue on. I let him come back. He's hanging out with me. We're getting a lot closer. We end up going to this party over on another island, right? And we all do acid at this party. And I literally forgot my phone in the hostel. And it was so crazy as an experience for me, because I genuinely have never really like left my phone places. I've lost my phone a million times at like festivals and things like that. But it's always so stressful, you know. I end up crying and I'm having a meltdown and I'm like, my phone, my phone, my phone. But we got to this party, Eden party. By the way, lit party. Literally, if you were ever in Thailand, definitely make your way to Eden. It is such a vibe. It is such a cool place. The like isolation of the location, the people that are there, the fact that you're not allowed to wear shoes, like everything about it is just cool. It's such a cool party. Anyways, I get there and I realized that I didn't have my phone, but we'd all just dropped on the way there. And so I was like, I'm just going to have to not think about it. Like, I'm just going to have to make peace with that. Otherwise, it's going to ruin the whole trip. I'm not going to enjoy my trip. And so I literally just was like, whatevs, the phone will be where it's going to be. There's nothing I can do about it right now. But it allowed me to also be so present in the moment of the whole experience, because I wasn't reliant on this technology. I wasn't relying on like, where is my phone? Let's take a photo. What is the time? Like, I was just so free flowing. And it was great. We made so many friends at the party. I had a great time. Like, it was so good. And for anyone who hasn't experienced like a hallucinogenic drug before, or who hasn't really been that like in that state, actually, I'm not even going to say that this is an everyone experience. This was just a personally me experience as the person that I am. I just felt such an infinite amount of love and this real soul worship of not only my own soul, but every other soul that was around me. Like, even as I looked into the crowd of everyone who was like dancing, like the dance floor, it wasn't even as if the people bodies were moving. It literally looked to me, because I was fucked on drugs, I understand that, but it literally looked to me like everyone's soul was just like dancing with each other, and the souls that were like just free in their own little vibe, and the souls that were more like cautious and held back, and it was just beautiful to watch. Like, I just really enjoyed that whole experience, right? And I think for me, I'm one of them people who, when I have experiences like that, where I have such a profoundly deep sense of love, I really connect that feeling with the people who I'm with. And unfortunately for me, the people who I was with was this guy. And the things that he was saying to me on that day were also very much that feeling of like, no, like, when we're sober, I need to have a conversation with you. Like, I'm being so serious right now. Like, everything is different now. Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, just saying all these things. And I was so like, so nice. You like me. You like me. And looking back now, I can see that it wasn't that I wanted him to like me back. It was just that I wanted my soul to be recognized. And this man who was kind of the first real experience of someone who came to me as such a spiritually imbued person. Like, he just had all of those signs of being on the same level as me. And even in the conversations that we had had, a lot of the things where I had said, like, this is my belief, or this is how I view things, or this is this, or this is that, everything was like, me too, me too, me too. This is my belief, me too. This is how I feel, me too. And so I felt really seen and really heard by this person. And on our way back to Koh Tao, we realized that I only had like 2 days, 3 days left until I was supposed to leave. And he literally was like, please just stay. Like, just stay with me. What's stopping you? Stay with me, hang out with me and my friend. Let's just keep doing this. I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop doing this with you. I really like you. Blah, 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 blah. All of those things, right? And I was sort of like, again, why the hell not? I don't have anything planned. I can do it like this and leave a week later, and I still have those 2 days in Bangkok before I go to Cambodia. And all is well in the world, right? Again, wrong. But it was that romantic gesture. It was that travel romance. It was that adventure. It was that spirit. It was everything that was just like, just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Like, this is why you're here. This is what you're here for. You're here to experience life. You're here to follow connections. You're here to just explore more and more and more of yourself through the reflection of other people, right? That was how I felt about it all. And we had an incredible week after that. But he started to just stop paying for things. And I didn't really think that much of it, because I was like, oh, well, he's spending so much time with me. He's not really working much. So kind of makes sense. I have money. I don't really mind. He's low-key brokey. And like, it just is what it is. It's only another week and then I'm going to be gone anyway. So let me just experience the things that I want to experience. And if he's here, he's here. If he's not, he's not. Whatevs, right? Again, it was just one of those, like, I didn't really care enough. And he did, there was a lot of times where he did pay for things, or he paid me back for things, or like all of that stuff. It wasn't as if I was just paying for everything all of the time. But it came to the point of me leaving, and I said to him, I'm not going to be just another one of the girls in your phone. Like, I know that you have a million girlfriends all over the world, from girls that you do this with when they come to the island. Like, you've been here for years. Of course you have that. I'm not stupid. And he was like, no, 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 like, I want to still be with you. I want to still talk to you. Like, I'm going to come to Australia. Like, I want to do this. I want to do this. And I was literally like, don't contact me. Like, there's no point. I'm not going to be another girl in your phone. I leave, and literally, like, when I'm on the boat, he's messaging me like, I miss you already. I wish you were coming back. Blah, 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 blah. I was like, why are you messaging me? I told you not to message me. And he was like, no, I know that we're going to message. Like, I know that I'm going to see you again. Like, I don't want to let you go, sort of sitch. And I was like, okay, well, I'm leaving. So all good. And the craziest part about that whole experience was I literally sat at the jetty. I sat on the boat leaving the island, and I said in my head to the universe, if I'm going to be upset about this, and if I'm going to grieve this as a loss, let it be on this boat, because once I touch mainland, I'm not going to be sad about this. Once I touch on mainland, I am moving on. And literally on the boat, I met this guy who was like, oh, everything and more. Like, everything and more. He was so beautiful inside and out. And I was just like shell shocked by him. Like, literally shell shocked by him. And he ended up coming up to me when we were like going out. Like, so basically, when you leave Koh Tao and you go to Bangkok, if you go via boat and bus, you catch the boat over, and then from there you get onto a bus, and the bus takes you to Bangkok, and you stop off maybe like 1 or 2 times on the way for like dinner or lunch or breakfast or whatever it is that your time you're going. So when we get off the boat, because I seen him on the boat, but we didn't speak on the boat, right? But when I get off the boat, he came up to me and he was like, hey, like, are you traveling alone? What's your name? Blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, oh, when we're at like dinner, let's like eat together, sort of thing. And I was like, okay, but I've literally just taken 2 sleeping pills, and like, I think that I'm going to fall asleep by then. But lucky enough for me, I didn't. And we sat and we chatted, and he was so lovely, and he was like, how long are you going to be in Bangkok for? And I was like, I'm literally there for 2 nights, like tonight when we get in, and then tomorrow night, and then I leave the next morning. And he was like, I want to take you on a date. And I was like, oh my God, slay. And I literally was like, oh wow, the universe really, really, really is rewarding me. Like, I'm just such a lucky, lucky girl. And I had the best night with him. I had such a good time with him. It was fantastic. It was fabulous. And then the next day I get a call back from this other guy being all like, oh, I know that you were out last night with somebody else. Like, I know that you've already slept with somebody else. Blah, 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 blah. Not even in a like claiming or like possessive way, but just in a way of it being like, I want you to know that I know, sort of situation. And I literally lied to him, which again just goes to show how toxic and twisted that situation was, because it's like I could have just told him the truth at that point in time. I could have just said to him like, yeah, I did. But I was like, I'm never going to see him again, so what's the point in telling him the truth? I might as well lie, which I just don't think I could do anymore. Like I genuinely, I don't see the point in lying about it anymore. So anyways, he was calling me. He was like, come back, come back, come back. I was like, no, I'm going to Cambodia and then I'm going to Vietnam. The whole 2 weeks I was in Cambodia, he was calling me every night, falling on like asleep on the phone with me, messaging me, like doing all these things, really like putting in effort and showing effort. And I was also like, you know, are you with other people? Like, have you been dating other people or sleeping with other people? Because if that's the case, like, that's cool, bro. Go do that. Like, I'm not bothered, but if you're gonna do that, just leave me alone. Like, just go and do it and just leave me alone. But he was literally like, no, 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 I want you to come back. I want you to come back. I want you to come back. And I honestly don't even know. I had so much just like anxious attachment by that point in time. Like, I remember being in Cambodia and him not replying to me for like a whole day, but like daytime sort of thing. And I just remember being like, who's he with? What's he doing? Like, ew, 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 ew. It literally just like even irks me to know that like that is the experience that I allow myself to have in my body, because ew, it's so beneath the standard of what I should be, what I should have. Now it's different, but what I should have been allowing for myself at that time. And I just couldn't get out of the cycle. Like, I just wanted to win the game. And the game was the only thing that was really important to me at that point, which is just so upsetting to feel, because to know that you had all the signs within you of your own intuition telling you again and again and again and again, and just ignoring them again and again and again and again. Like, it's so tough to acknowledge that that is the position that you're in and that is how you're truthfully feeling. And it feels almost shameful to admit. Like, you don't even want to admit it to yourself, let alone admitting it to other people at all. But to me, I was just like, no, he really likes me and he says that all these things are happening and he's like this and he's like that. So I'm going to go back and just have some more fun in Thailand. Fun was definitely had. Don't get me wrong. I had a great time in Thailand. I've been back 2 times since this time. Like, I love Thailand. I don't blame Thailand at all for this experience. This man and me created this experience. Anyways, I go back to Thailand. From the minute I get back, he's all over me, like proper like relationship style all over me. And I was on my period at the time and I was just lapping it up because I was like, affection. I love this. I love this. I love this. I love this. And it just got so deeply spiritual so quickly. And from that point in time, and it was like I was the witch and he was my protector. And it really annoys me now that I opened that part of myself up to him, because he really saw that in me and saw how vital and important that aspect of my life was, and my connection to my own spirituality and my connection to my own rituals and my connection to my own peace. And he used that the fuck against me to the point where I don't even know how much of him knew what was real and what was not, because of how deeply he lived the experience of being that spiritual protector, of being that person who can hold that space and who can be the partner of someone who is like me. And it's so easy to look at it from an outsider perspective and be like, oh, well, you're just stupid because he did this and he said that and he this and he that. But it was like when he was with me in that first couple of weeks of me being back, he was so present and he was so intentional with all of the aspects of himself that he gave to me. And I really started to actually question, oh my God, like, is this really my person? I didn't expect this to go this way, but it's really feeling like he's my person. And I would, in conversation with him, say to him, like, I don't know, I'm feeling really surprised. I'm feeling really shocked. And he was like, yeah, it kind of feels like you're made for me and I'm made for you. Like, these were the things that he was saying to me, right? And this is the way that it really trips you out in your brain when you find out the truth, because when you're living that experience and they're telling you those things, it feels fucking real. It feels so real. And my body was trying to tell me that it wasn't all the time. I was sick for like pretty much that whole month. Like, barely ate food, barely did anything. Like, I was just lazy. I started to get like more and more depressed. I felt caged in because he ended up going and renting a big motorbike, right? I was like, let's just get a little moped. And he was like, no, I want to ride a big bike. I want to ride a big bike. And I was like, well, I'm not paying for you to ride a big bike. You can pay for that. And he ended up getting his friend from the UK to send him money so that he could go and hire this bike, which I later found out was not what he'd said he was going to spend it on. He literally told her that he had no money for food. So that was why she sent him the money. But he was like, to me, no, she just knows how much I love bikes. She rides bikes too, so she understands, she gets it. She's just my girl. She's just my bro. Like, that's just the experience. Like, that's just the relationship that we have. And I was like, okay, if your friend wants to pay for you to go buy a bike, like, whatevs, that's none of my business. He went and hired it out though using my passport, because in Thailand you have to like put a passport down as a deposit or put a cash deposit down when you hire out any bike. And I didn't really think anything of it in the beginning, because why would I? Like, I'd put my passport down on all of the bikes that I'd rented. So what was the big deal? What was the issue? But because he had this big bike, I couldn't really go anywhere because I couldn't drive. And where we were staying was in this sort of like a little bit more isolated place. Like, I could walk and go places, and I went for runs and went places. But honestly, it's so hot and you just want to drive. Like, you just want to be able to drive places. And we were staying in Samui at this point in time. And Samui is a lot more difficult to get around than Koh Tao. Koh Tao without a bike is like kind of simple, but Samui without a bike was a little bit more difficult. Anyways, it just got to the point where a couple of weeks had gone past and he'd just stopped paying for things. Like, just stopped. And I was really like, you have to pay me back for this. You have to pay me back for this. You have to pay me back for this. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to when my money comes in, when my money comes in, when my money comes in, when my money comes in. And literally Tinder swindled, because up until this point in time, every time that he'd sort of said like, oh, when my money's coming in, I'll give it to you, he had. So there was no reason for me to believe that he wouldn't, right? Anyways, he's doubling down on the whole, you're my soulmate, you're my soulmate, you're my soulmate. Meanwhile, starting to sort of do a little bit less and a little bit less and a little bit less and a little bit less. And then my friend came over from Queensland and he just like disconnected from me. And then my sister came over straight after that and he disconnected even further. And I was so sick by this point in time. I literally could barely eat like one meal a day because upon hindsight, my body was trying to tell me like, you need to get out, you need to get out, you need to get out. But I was so like, what is going on? What is going on? What is going on? Because I just spent practically a month with this person telling me that they were my person and treating me like I was their person and having these incredible experiences of open and honesty and truth and like love, not in the sense of like, oh, I'm in love with you, love, but like in that sense of it just being like love, you know? Maybe that sounds ridiculous, but again, this is just my experience. Like, this is just how I am as a person. And there was, again, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag of all these other little experiences that were happening that I kind of just kept like pushing to the side and pushing to the side and pushing to the side because I was like, oh, whatevs, it's not that deep, it's not that deep, it's not that deep. And it had just gotten to the point where I was like, I want out, but I need you to pay for this fucking bike so that I can get my passport back. And that was my only concern. I was like, I just need to get my passport back. And as soon as I have my passport back, I can go and do whatever the hell I want to do. But I'm not paying literally like $1,000 for your bike. Like, no, you can pay for that. That's not my problem. You were the one who got it. I told you I wasn't paying for that. And it got down to it. And it was just me and him. And the camel that broke the the straw that broke the camel's back is just the most ridiculous thing in the world. Because I was having a conversation with him one night and I was saying, oh, if we're going to go to Copenhagen next, let's speak to this girl whose dad owns these like cottages sort of thing, and let's go and stay there. We can support their business. We can like chat with her, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, oh no, I don't think I should message her. Like, why don't you message her? And I was like, because you're friends with her and I'm not really friends with her. I've had literally like one conversation with her when we were all partying together. Like, I don't know her. Like, I don't want to message her out of the blue. Like, you are friends with her. Why don't you message her? And he was literally like, I can't message her because I think she has a crush on me. And I laughed out loud. I'm not even joking you. I laughed out loud because I was like, okay, what part of her behavior makes you feel like she has a crush on you, big boy? And he was like, oh, when we were like at this party and she was like really fucked up and I was really fucked up, she was like, oh, can you please just hold my hand? Like, I'm just going through something at the moment, like in the sense of like, just like party wise, like just like, I'm really fucked up, like just be my person for a second. And I was like, okay, that doesn't mean that she likes you. That's just like a general thing. Like, you guys are all in the same friend group. That makes sense to me. He was like, yeah, but then I always find her like looking at me across the room and stuff. And I was like, okay, that's probably a little bit more of a sign. But also I was at the same party and I never once seen her looking at you. So I think you're kind of just imagining that, but whatevs. And then he was like, yeah, but like, she's not my type. Like, I like fat girls. And I literally said to him, can you not say that? Because I don't identify myself as fat, which makes me kind of feel like either A, you see me as fat, which hurts my feelings, or B, I'm just not your type, which also hurts my feelings. And he was like, no, what do you mean? Like, I'm just going to be real, like, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, so you're trying to say that you think that I'm fat? Like, I'm not trying to have an argument with you about it. I'm just saying you could use any other word. You don't have to use the word fat. I've been so like diligent about working on my own body image, and I don't think that I'm fat. So I'm not going to sit here and be labeled as fat. I spent so many years when I was younger calling myself fat when I never was. I'm not going to sit here and let you call me fat when I'm not. I don't get it. Like, this is just how I feel. And he went into like full attack mode, being all like, oh, you're twisting my words. Like, you just want me to change who I am. You don't want me to be funny anymore. You just want me to be serious all the time, but I'm not serious. I'm a funny person. I'm allowed to have a joke. It's just a joke. Like, it doesn't mean anything. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. You're taking this so fucking far out of context. I'm not telling you to change yourself. I've never once told you to change any of the things that you do. Everything that you've done has been your own choices. Like, I'm not dating someone to change them. Like, that's not who I am as a person. Take a step back. And I was so upset because I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, how did this person who was this incredible person 2 weeks ago turn into this person who's like yelling and screaming at me because I'm telling you that hurts my feelings, and can you use another word? What the fuck? What the fuck is going on? And at this point in time, he tried to start telling me that he loved me. And I'd said to him, like, I don't think you do. And he was like, no, I really do. I really do. I really do. And I was just like, I don't believe it, but whatever. And it was just so confusing. Even thinking back to it, it's so hard to remember the sort of like the consecutive events of what was happening during that period of time, because I was just living in such a state of confusion. And on top of that state of confusion, I also was so unhealthy because I wasn't eating properly. And on top of not eating properly, I was smoking every single day, which just added to the confusion because I felt like I was forgetting everything. I felt like I wasn't myself. Like, it was just such a cycle of me just diminishing my self-worth, like little bit by little bit by little bit by little bit, to like fit into this lifestyle where I could be around him without hating him. You know, that was actually how it felt. Like, I had to just escape and avoid thinking all of these things, because if I actually dealt with them, I knew that the consequences were going to kind of be bad for me. And we had become friends at this point in time with another guy who lived in the accommodation that we were with. And this man, who I love still, however, he was also very spiritual. And he had a bunch of tarot cards, and he was like, let me do a reading for you. Let me do a reading for you. And I was like, okay. And I was like, all right, I need clarity on this situation, like whatever's going on with me and this guy. And he gave me this reading that was basically like, I know that he owes you money, but you need to open your heart because he will pay you back. It's just that he's going through a hard time right now, and he does care for you. He just doesn't know how to communicate it properly. And if he could show you, he would. If he could tell you, he would. He's just in his own little problem at the moment, and it's not about you. It's about him, but it doesn't mean that the love isn't there, and you need to open yourself up to that more. And so I'm like, okay, the universe is kind of telling me to stay, even though all I want to do is leave. What am I going to do about this? And I'd had a conversation with him later that day where I had said, like, I'm just really confused because I feel like everything inside of me is telling me to leave, but every time I open it up to the universe is telling me to stay. And I'm so conflicted because I don't know what's going on. And this man literally turned around to me and said, it's because the universe knows how I feel about you. In words that I can't tell you, it feels it. It knows. So it's telling you to stay because it knows me. It knows my true intention. It knows how I feel about you. Bro, I ate that shit up. So embarrassing. Like, so embarrassing how easy it was for that tiny little aspect of my life to be used against me. Because literally like 2 days later from that, I found out the whole thing was a lie. That man had been sleeping with other girls while I was asleep in the bed of the room that we had together, and would come back in the morning before I woke up. That man did this to women for the last 2 years, where he would find someone that was financially secure enough in themselves to want a private room and shack up with them so that he could live for free. I was so utterly shocked. So shocked when this all came out. Like, I feel like I lived in a state of just pure overwhelm for like 3 days straight. I couldn't think anything other than replaying every single conversation that I'd ever had with him, because the worst part about it was not like, oh, I'm so upset he broke my heart, because honestly, I didn't feel heartbroken at the fact of losing him because I'd already wanted to leave. I wasn't upset at not being with him or not having him be my person. But what really, really, really upset me was the fact that I had felt so secure, and I had felt like I really trusted myself and my own intuition and my own knowledge and my own self-worth. And to know that even in how strongly I felt secure in that, it all got ripped away from me so quickly. Like, so fucking quickly. And the day that I found out, he didn't know, but I was with another friend who had been a friend of his, and he had called them and been like, what the fuck did you say to her? You've screwed up the whole pattern for me. You fucked the whole fucking thing. I was just about to run 100K through her bank account while she slept at night because she was stupid enough to trust me with her phone. She let me know her password. Like, keep in mind that from like the second day that I met him, he had been like, oh, do you have any games on your phone? And then it was like, oh, let's play music off your phone. Never once was I like, here's the pin to my bank account. Like, but he had been playing the long game the whole fucking time. The whole time. And listening to him on this phone call, it was like he was a completely different person. Completely different. I had never seen him in this light before. And it was so shocking to me because I was like, wow, you would really do that to me? Like, you would really just treat me like I'm so nothing. And not that I felt like I was everything to you, but I thought that you had enough respect for me as a person to not treat me like this. I thought you had enough respect for my values and my morals and my personality that you would think that I don't deserve to be treated like this. Not that anyone deserves to be treated like that, because no one deserves to be treated like that, but it was so heartbreaking to experience, because it was just like, what the actual fuck? And literally for a week straight after that point in time, I threw up every single morning. In the morning, I would wake up and I would be like so nauseous and so just beside myself that I would try so hard to like breathe and calm and relax and tell myself like everything's going to be okay, everything's going to be okay, everything's going to be okay. And I would get out of bed, and as soon as I stand up, I would literally have to go to the toilet and just vomit because I felt so fucking violated. I felt so disgusting in my own body because I really gave myself to that experience and to being with that person, and to know that the whole time they were going around with other people, and the whole time, every single time that I had slept with them, thinking that I was in this like mutually giving and receiving experience, to know that he was just taking and taking and taking and taking. I just have never felt so violated before in my entire life. And it sucked so fucking bad. And for like a whole month after that, I literally could not think of like anything else in my brain. It was like all I could think about was just replaying again and again and again every single red flag that I ignored, every single experience of me being like, oh, he's acting weird, or he's acting strange, or he's doing this, or he's doing that, where it's like, to know that he was actually doing these things. And like it was literally unimaginable. And I felt instantly a sense of worthlessness and just like pity for myself. And then I just decided, like, I'm not going to let that be my story. And this shows so much more about him and who he is as a person than it does about me. And I'm not going to let myself be shamed, and I'm not going to let myself fall victim to this story. And I'm not going to have this define my whole life. And I'm so fucking blessed to know that that change happened so quickly for me. And the only reason that that happened so quickly for me was because of the fact that I had done so much internal work prior to that experience. And I know that, and I am so grateful. And I encourage every single female in your life to go and do your own inner work so that you can experience inner strength. And it doesn't mean that these things that happen tear you down for the rest of your lives. Yes, they will affect you, but this did not break me. It didn't, because I never allowed it to, ever. And he had taken or used or tricked or whatever it is that you want to say, like 3,000 Australian dollars, 3,000, 4,000 Australian dollars from me. And the craziest part about it was that in the moment, I didn't even care about the money. The money didn't matter to me as much as the physical violation of knowing that he had been sleeping with other girls while telling me that we were only sleeping with each other and that he was committed to me was. And in that moment in time, I felt so sad for every female who had ever been cheated on, because I was with this person for literally 2 months, and to know how violated I had felt after that, I just couldn't even imagine what it would have felt like to be in a longer experience with someone who you're actually in a relationship with, right? But I just knew. I was like, this isn't going to break me. This isn't going to change me. I get to still be the person that I am, and I get to experience the love that I have and that I give, because the love that I have is actually infinite. And it sounds ridiculous, but what really got me through was mantras. Like, quite literally every single day, I would continuously tell myself, I am safe. My truth is for me. And like, I am well, I am protected, I am safe. I am well, I am protected, I am safe. I am a good person. I am lovable. I am great. I emit love every single day. Love is infinite to me. I just continued reiterating it again and again and again and again and again. Every single time I felt that anxious feeling, I am safe, I am safe, I am safe, I am safe, I am safe. Like, it's so important to be able to switch yourself out of that mindset of the anxiety and the emotional turmoil, to be able to really step into your power of reminding yourself that you are the creator of your own story. Like, it is you who gets to decide how you feel. It is you who gets to decide the narrative of what you're telling yourself in your head. And that doesn't mean that it didn't hurt. That doesn't mean that it wasn't painful. Like, I was so embarrassed for so long because I was just so shocked of, how could I let this happen to me? How could this happen to me? This happens to other people. This shit doesn't happen to me. How did I let this happen? How did I let this happen? How did I let this happen? And it really was a trust factor too, of being like, okay, well, I just lost so much trust in my own intuition because my intuition was telling me, and those things that I was saying were right. And instead of listening to my own body, I was listening to this man and what he was telling me. And look at me now. Look at where I'm at now. And I could have just saved myself all of that pain and all of that torture by just listening to my own intuition, listening to my body, listening to my mind when it was telling me things aren't right, things aren't right, things aren't right, things aren't right. Listening to the people around me. Even my sister, when she came over, she was like, this man's not right for you. This man's not right for you. And I was like, but I really like him. And she was like, I know you do, but he's not right for you. And this is the thing. If you're listening right now and you're in a situation where your body is screaming at you, please, please, please just listen. Because it does feel fucking painful to go through the hurt and the rejection of yourself and all of those different feelings. But it feels so much better when you can stand back in your own power again. Like, so much better. And there's still things in today, like, today has been like, what did this happen in? Like October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. This happened 10 months ago when I found out, and I had that original first, like, oh my God, what the fuck experience. And I still go through situations right now where I doubt my own thinking, or where I question my reality, or I question other people's intentions, or I feel that anxious attachment towards situations and towards people, or I have those doubts come in and those insecurities come in. And the only thing that gets me through that is continuing to tell myself, I am safe, my truth is real, I am love, I give love, I am a good person, constantly, again and again and again, until I actually feel like it. Until inside of myself, I can feel that. And I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine in Queensland after I had first come back to Australia. And I had told her, and I said to her, what upsets me the most isn't really that it happened, but it's the fact that I'm scared to open myself up to somebody new now, because I'm scared that my truth will be used against me. That was the first relationship that I had ever really experienced where I had been so open about my spirituality, about my emotional side, about my connection to my family and my friends and all of these things, because like I said, I felt so seen and heard and understood by this man. And to know that all of those things was just so that he could get into my head and get me closer and closer and closer. it was so scary for me to be able to know that I would have to consciously choose to let someone close to me again now. I don't want to ever go through that again, ever in my life. And it has made me more cautious of how much of myself I share with people. And I think that sometimes that's good and sometimes it's not very good. And I feel like since that situation, I'm definitely more quiet as a human being, and I'm more reserved, and I'm a lot more held back. I wouldn't say that these things are inherently bad. I also wouldn't say that they are incredibly good. But right now, 10 months later, they're still my reality. And that's okay with me, because I know that I'm a good person, and I know that I will open myself up again, and I know that this story doesn't define me, and I know that I get to choose how I feel about it and how I act on these thoughts and these behaviors. And honestly, if I'm grateful for anything as a part of this experience, it's to show me that I'm so much stronger than I thought that I was, because all of that strength and that commitment and all of those things that I thought that I had before, I have now, because I know for a fucking fact that I will never be in that situation again. My standards of behavior and my ability to listen to my intuition and to call things off sooner when someone is showing red flags. I'm so grateful that going through that situation gave me that and allowed me to step into my power fully. Because even from that situation, I literally went back to Thailand in February of this year, and I went to the police station to put in a police report about this behavior, because I was like, there is no way I am going to fucking stand around and let him treat other women like this ever again. You messed with the wrong girl, because if it was just about me, maybe I wouldn't do it. But to know that you continue to behave like this again and again and again and treat women so disgustingly, I will not stand for it. And so I went straight to the police station and they arrested him within 24 hours. Not the craziest part about the arrest was that it actually had nothing to do with me. And I think that just goes to show how much of a bad human being he was being at that period of time, because literally I'd never even filed my report. They didn't take it. I never filed it. Like, I never gave the report in. I never signed no documents. I never did anything. Just me going to the police station and identifying the person. They went and arrested him for overstaying his visa. And he's now banned from Thailand for 10 years. And I don't feel bad about that. In fact, I actually feel fucking great about it. And it wasn't even a sense of revenge. It wasn't even a like, fuck you. Because honestly, when it happened, I never even claimed it. I said that it wasn't me. I said to everyone when I was there who was asking me, oh, was it you? Was it you? I was like, no, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. He got arrested immigration. Immigration got him. Immigration got him. Like, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Because once it happened, I realized that it was never about the revenge for me. It was never about the clout. It was never about the like, oh yeah, like ha ha ha. As much as I wanted to be like, fuck you, because I was obviously super upset at the situation. And I thought, how dare you think that you can treat me like that? It was more about the sense of, how dare you think that you can treat any women like that? And I hope you know that it was me before I did it. Once I did it, I was like, this man is crazy and he's going to try and kill me. And so I didn't claim it. And now I am on a podcast. So there you go. That's that. That is that situation. And I went back to Thailand, to Koh Tao in July, like just gone. And it was the most healing experience for me, because I got to have the island the way that I remember it. And the craziest part is that people are thanking me. Like, all of the manipulation and all of the things that he had been trying to get into other people's heads about me, saying that I was this and that I was that, because this is the thing about manipulators. They don't just manipulate one person, they manipulate everyone. And so as much as he was manipulating me into thinking that he liked me, he was also manipulating everybody else into thinking that I was this obsessive, crazy, like attached person who was just like trying to control his life and trying to like bring him down, which I was never. I was never that. When have I ever been like that? Like, I've been talking openly and honestly about my experiences in the world for the last 2 years, 3 years of my life. When have I ever came across in that way? It's because I'm not. And good people always win in the end, because people trust in people who are authentic and who are honest. And I was always authentic with every single person that I met throughout that whole entire experience. And I was always honest with every person that I met throughout that entire experience. And so when it all came out and all of the lies were highlighted, everyone trusted me. Everyone believed me, because they all knew. They all had the same feelings about him. They all knew inside of themselves that he wasn't behaving in a good way, and he wasn't doing good for himself. He wasn't doing good for other people. And unfortunately, you always get caught out. So it is healing to know that this is the end of that situation now. And I have spoken my truth and I've told my story. And I hope that this podcast has helped somebody else feel seen and helped somebody else feel understood and heard. And if you have experienced situations like this in the past, I love you and I'm proud of you for getting out. And if you're in this situation at the moment, trust in yourself. Trust in what you know and who you are on the inside. Forget what they're saying. Forget what they're doing. Trust in you. Trust in your truth, in your knowledge. Feel the strength within you, because it does exist. You are safe in your own truth. And it's not okay for people to treat you like that. It's not. Your body will always tell you. All you have to do is listen. Anyway, this has been probably one of the longest podcasts I've ever done. I definitely feel like I told so much of the story and such little amount of the healing. But honestly, it's because it's so sporadic, and the healing in itself, you deal with when it comes. And the healing aspect is really just connecting back in with your truth. Those anxious thoughts that I was having repeat in my head again and again and again and again, the only way I stopped them was repeating those mantras, getting myself out of that state, and then allowing time to pass. The more time that passes, the more you can move forward, the more evidence that you create to support your truth and your values and your goodness, the easier it becomes to trust in your own brain again, to trust in your own perception, to trust in your own experience. So just keep going. I promise you it always gets better. Breathe and mantra. You are safe. Your truth is valid. I love you. As always, if this spoke to you, I would love, love, love to hear from you. I love receiving messages from you guys. Like, seriously, every single time I get a DM of someone saying like, oh, this is what I'm experiencing at the moment, or your last podcast really spoke to me because ABC, like it makes me feel so whole. So please, if you feel like it, I would love to hear from you. I love you guys, and I'm so fucking glad that that's over. I'm so glad that that is over. And I'm so ready for this next chapter now. I love you. Bye.